Well, good morning, my brothers and sisters. And this is a video that's on Skywatch TV. I do watch them, but I hold my breath when dealing with them. This here's video is Part 5, Special Investigative Report, Final Fire Awakening. And final fire right off, that gave me red flags right off the bat. And here's why.
To the Muslims that stay behind. And this is happening in those camps where people are getting saved, right?
Well, let's come back to that point that you raised, Donna. Women and children. Why do you believe that women and children, based on what you saw in history, will play a key role in a coming Great Awakening?
When Catherine Coleman stepped up in the Age of Fire,
Catherine Coleman. This woman just brought up Catherine Coleman. Is going to say that her theology was sound. This is the fire of Benny Hinn. This is the fire of Paul and Jan Crouch. This is the fire of Creflo Dollar. This is the fire of Joyce Myers. This is false fire. It's another fire.
Bible that happened throughout America in the 50s. She was like nothing that anybody had ever seen. And coming into the 70s and the later decades, she was what a lot of people were referring to as brazen, because she would wear flowing gowns and high heels and jewelry. And, a woman, first of all, was not supposed to be speaking in the church anyway.
Right.
This was a woman.
The Bible is explicit. Women are not to have spiritual authority over men, period. And you know what? This is why.
In a man's world. Well, she was actually, her theology was very sound. It was very articulate. And she also wasn't afraid of doing things that maybe for a man wouldn't have been a big deal, but this wave of Pentecostal speaking in tongues and that sort of thing, she did.
We've all seen what that's about. Speaking in gibberish has never will be or never was speaking in tongues. This is satanic fire.
These things, and she did so with authority. And she wasn't the only female, but she was one of the pioneer women that really paved the way. Since then, you've had, and women's rights, that took a huge leap. In the whole Vietnam era, when everything was a riot, when everything was a rally, and the women were doing all this was an era where women really we learned to have a voice, and there hasn't been a great awakening or a major revival since then. So really, this will be, if a great awakening is right around the corner, this will be the first time that women feel empowered. The Joyce Myers, the Anne Graham Lotz, they're the first era that we really feel.
She just said Joyce Myers, whom teaches we are little gods, under the satanic teaching that, the Godhead got together and had some kind of union and created men. Because that's what they compare it to. When horses get together with horses, they make horses. When dogs get together with dogs, they make horses. They're comparing it to some kind of sexual union between species. This is satanic. And this is why I watch Skywatch TV, just so I can keep up with what the enemy's doing through the so-called fake church. You have to be very careful with these people. Very, very careful indeed. Bye.